Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempestfall released this week. Here are our impressions straight from the VR Gamescast.
I've played probably about 2 hours of Tempestfall now, and I've kind of been interested in it mainly because of the developer Carbon, who I think do a good job in producing very good-looking VR games, even though sometimes on the gameplay side of things it looks a little, or it plays a little simply, I should say. And I think that's kind of the case here, give or take. I'm still in the process of figuring this game out, really. What you have is one of the more supernatural sides of the Warhammer universe. You play as I think you're called a Storm Guard, and you have 3 weapons in your inventory. You have a normal sword, and then you have kind of 2 magical staffs. And each of these weapons has 3 magical attacks assigned to it based on gestures, just like the Wizards games, essentially. So, and you start off with 1 in each weapon. So the sword, you can thrust forward and you dash into enemies. With a staff, you can raise it above your head and it will do like a chain lightning attack. And then with the other staff, you can like swipe it horizontally and it does like a wave of lightning, which is a very interesting evolution of what we saw in the Wizards, because the Wizards was all about doing like just conjuring weapons with your hands from thin air, whereas this is already having the weapon and then doing a magical attack with it. In the early bits of the game, I'm not sure the combat's really clicking with me so far, because it's interesting. So Wolver Razza just said down here that they're being told that the further you get into the game, the harder it gets, which is kind of what I needed to hear, because right now the chain lightning attack takes care of enemies no problem whatsoever, and I've done about like 20-30 combat encounters, which have just basically been solved by me raising my hand above my head for a bit. It's kind of confusing. The tutorial isn't fantastic, so it's not telling you everything you need to know. I didn't realize you can't infinitely use magic. You actually have runes on the side of your weapon that like fill up a meter, or a meter drains the more you use it. But even then, I still haven't filled up, used the whole meter clearing off waves of enemies. I also haven't seen a lot of enemy variety yet. It's just been going between 2 main types. And then the newer part is the melee combat, which is somewhere in between kind of wee waggle and something a bit better. So if an enemy throws a sword at you or swings a sword at you, you have to meet it with kind of force to parry it and knock them back, and then you can return attacks. But you can also just kind of do that thing of just hold the analog stick forward, run at the enemy, and just kind of like crazily swipe at the enemy, and it's probably going to get you somewhere. The thing I think I like most about it so far is it's kind of the same as Battle Sister in terms of just being in the universe, and specifically in this one, you get a hub world or a hub area in this city. But then what's looking to be like the rest of the game takes place in a city where you go out, make shortcuts that can get you back to the hub world very, very quickly. But you've just got this branching network of caves and dungeons and sewers and different areas that you'll discover through different objectives. It's not just a straightforward super linear thing. Exploration seems to be a very big part of the game. So I think that's really, really cool. I just think for me, it's like, I'm not sure that combat is really, really clicking just yet. And I hope it gets better in the game later on, because right now, frankly, it does feel quite messy. It feels like I could just raise my fist, swing my sword about, and I will just cut through people as quickly as possible. And not only is it kind of easy, but there's like skeleton enemies, which are meant to be like, you know, your kind of like brainless zombie types that you deal with very, very easily. But some of them just kind of stand and stare at you. And even if you like walk up to them, they just stare at you. Sometimes they just face away from you and look at a wall, and you're like, I feel like this is going to use just a little more time. And to that point as well, and to the point of saying it feels a bit too easy. When you start the game, you get the choice between story mode and hardcore mode, but it says hardcore mode is coming soon, which kind of, again, just seems to me a bit like, kind of seems like I could have waited for hardcore mode to be here, depending on what it adds and if it's, you know, going to alleviate my concerns with the game so far. But I'll aim to have a full review early next week, if not earlier.
Those were our impressions of Warhammer Age of Sigmar Tempestfall, available now on PC VR. Join us every Thursday for the VR Gamescast.